The best video game secrets can be extraordinary, offering new weapons, abilities, and even characters that might change the way you play. This list does not contain any of those. Unfortunately, not every secret is necessarily worth your while, from disappointing unlockables to equipment that comes way too late to matter. They say time is money, and if so, these games bankrupt us with secrets that were not worth an ounce of the investment players put in. I'm Sai for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 more video game secrets that were a waste of time. Number 10. Lizardman, Soulcalibur II. Secret unlockables are the bread and butter of fighting games, and the Soulcalibur series is no stranger to that. Soulcalibur 2 had a few bonus characters, one of which was Lizardman, based on a similar fighter from the first game. You'd think it would be cruel to mark a fighting game character down as a waste of time, but Lizardman is as close as you can get. Firstly, you can't view his command list like other characters for some reason, despite the fact he appeared in the previous game, thus making him harder to master. Moreover, Lizardman isn't usable in most of the game's modes, which makes him not all that appealing a character to get good with anyway. It's a tough road to beat all of the Weapon Master challenges and unlock Lizardman at the end, one that many Soulcalibur 2 players gave up on the way, and they didn't really miss out on much because of it. It's likely that Lizardman was a late addition to the game, but if you can't make a character function fully, then why bother at all? Thankfully, he would be redeemed in Soulcalibur 3, but this only serves to reiterate how disappointing this appearance truly is. Number 9. Conductor's Uniform, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. This 2009 Nintendo DS title is right up there as one of the most unique Zelda games in the series, be that for better or for worse. New for the franchise is Link's sudden interest in steam engines, which at the start of the game temporarily includes a train conductor's uniform, which you can then unlock for the full game a little later on. What makes this entry particularly insulting is that other Zelda games' unlockable outfits have actually had a use. Wind Waker's reward for story completion is very similar to Spirit Tracks, except that it has a function. On a second playthrough, players can keep Link in his early game island pajamas outfit, which comes with the advantage of being able to understand the Hylian that the mysterious entities say throughout the game. This time around, it's totally cosmetic. This might explain why, despite perhaps being charming, the unlockable conductor's outfit feels so worthless. More than this is that it requires the player to visit 15 stamp stations throughout Hyrule and then return to Alfonso just for new threads. Thankfully, 20 stamps will get the player a better spin attack, but who really wants to wear a labourer's uniform over the clothes of a hero, especially if it provides no additional benefit. Number 8. Umaro, Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI is weird, and that's part of its charm. No other game in the series features an evil clown who successfully reshapes the world, a scene where someone suplexes a train, and a talking squid who won't stop following the player. The 1995 SNES classic features 4 secret and optional characters who can join your party of do-gooders, one of which is Umaro, a literal walking and talking, grunting yeti. Whilst that might sound interesting, the character is generally regarded as one of the most forgettable and useless party members in the game. Not only does Umaro not have a role in the story whatsoever, but due to his oafish behaviour, players can't control the abominable snowman themselves in battle and must just let Umaro do as he pleases. Umaro isn't the only character in the game like this, but Gao, a child found wandering the game's wilderness, at least has a fairly helpful stack of abilities and he's relatively easy to enlist. In order to coerce Umaro to join you, players must go through the Yeti's cave, a decently tough dungeon, and beat the snow-capped Sasquatch at the end of it. All this for a character who isn't really stronger or more useful than anyone else you could choose to fight alongside you. Number 7. The Complete Chair, Castlevania Curse of Darkness. With the exception of certain genres like life sims and perhaps a slow-moving strategy title, video games tend to be about action. Castlevania as a series is all about pressing on against adversity, battling monsters and grappling with intense platforming challenges. So it's a little weird that chairs are such a recurring theme that they have their own entry on the Castlevania wiki. Now, to be fair, some of the games that feature a place to park your keister in Castlevania are not about relaxing and refer more to collectibles or items that Poltergeist can throw at you. However, in Castlevania Curse of Darkness, Hector can take a load off in the game's save rooms and in the hidden chair room, which chronicles each seat Hector has taken throughout his journey. Every area of the game features a comical hidden chair, and these range from seats at pachinko machines to even the old John Crapper. Each is tucked away, and there is a reward for finding all of them. The Complete Chair is a fairground nightmare of a seating place adorned with lights and gigantic feathers. It's not exactly an appropriate place to relax and think about all the horrible demons you've seen, but worse still, just like those that came before it, it doesn't actually do anything at all. Number 6. Pendant, Faxanadu. The trope of describing any hard game as the Dark Souls of its genre might well be a tired one, but Faxanadu perhaps has a good shot at being the real thing. In this NES action-adventure, the player ascends a tree in a dark medieval fantasy world that is surely designed to make you cry. There's NES Hard and then there's Faxanadu, which demands players to try to power level against its roster of irritating enemies and laughs when they fall and lose every ounce of progress. The game demands the purchase of keys to unlock its dungeons, but these are one-time use only, so if you die and are booted back into the overworld, you'll need to farm coins to re-unlock the same dungeon. The pendant is located at the end of the game's Tower of Suffer, a woefully accurate name, and spawns in the corner of the boss room. As such, it's easily missable, and it's a completely optional pickup that was designed to increase the hero's overall attack power. However, thanks to a coding error, it actually does the complete reverse. One small line of code means that instead of buffing the player, they will instead do less damage than before. Not only is this a waste of time, it's actually a hindrance. Congratulations, you conquered this dungeon. Here's a slap in the face. Number 5. Bandana and Stealth Camouflage, Metal Gear Solid 4. Hideo Kojima games are always stuffed to the gills with unlockables which run the full gambit of being game-breakingly useful or kind of a bit naff. As such, when taking a look at the secrets in Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, it's well worth highlighting two that are equally confounding. The infinite ammo bandana is a staple of the series, which is delivered to the player in different ways throughout each entry, so figuring out what you need to do to get it is part of the experience. However, in MGS4, by the time you're rewarded with it, you're likely to find very little use for it. This time you must beat the campaign without killing a single person, thus proving you don't need lethal ammunition to become an expert of the title anyway. Similarly, the stealth camouflage, which turns Snake completely invisible, is a reward for beating the game without causing an enemy alert once. Again, now that you've truly mastered sneaking, do you really need invisibility? Not only that, but the item doesn't cover up Snake's footsteps, and he can still be seen by enemies with heat vision, so it's not much better than being good at hiding, which players will become extremely adept at by this point. Number 4. The Real Knife, Undertale. Indie RPG sensation Undertale allows players to go through the game a number of ways, most prominently the choice to spare enemies or brutalise them in 8-bit style. The Real Knife can be found tucked away in Asgore's home right near the end of the game's genocide run. This super powerful weapon has an attack stat of plus 99. For context, this makes it a damn sight better than the game's penultimate weapon, the Worn Knife, that has a measly plus 15 attack by comparison. The issue is, there's nothing to do with it. From here, the run only has one final boss for the player to face, which is Sans. The cheeky skeletal chappie's whole gimmick is that he can avoid the player's attacks for 22 turns before they get the chance to strike. With 1 point of defense and 1 HP, Sans would go down with the game's starting weapon, the toy knife, and this ultimate blade proves to be pretty pointless. Undertale is a game that loves to poke fun and break the fourth wall on occasion, with creator Toby Fox even denying that the Real Knife was in the game before its final release. Turns out this is yet another example of meta humour, and Fox pulling a joke on the players. Number 3. Waste of Time, World of Warcraft. We can do this list without featuring an item that is quite literally named The Waste of Time, which is not only a glorious pun, but should have alerted World of Warcraft fans to the inevitable destination of their hunt for this secret. 2018's Battle of Azeroth update brought a ton of new content to the world-famous MMO, but WoW diehards stumbled across something unexpected after solving the secret to the game's newest familiar, the Baal. Whilst exploring the map with your new demonic goat friend, inspecting very specific places offers clues and leads players to skeletal gnome Grimmy. The quest for this cosmetic item continues with various cryptic demands and notes. Players must speak to a tailor to equip some specific gear, wear the gear to get another letter, which once deciphered asks them to perform various emotes in certain points of the map. After that, it's the arduous task of gathering 144 stacks of the rotten potato debuff. Finally, the waste of time is bequeathed to those patient enough to fulfill this mysterious mission, and true to its name, it has no particular function other than bragging rights to other World of Warcraft players that you might have too much time on your hands. Number 2. Invisibility Hat, Super Mario Odyssey. When Mario first graced 3D space on the Nintendo 64, players were introduced to 3 very special new cap types that gifted them new abilities: Flying Mario, Metal Mario, and Invisible Mario. 2017's Super Mario Odyssey gave the mustachioed icon the opportunity to dress to the nines with a wide variety of different outfits. Let us not forget that this was the game that introduced the world to Mario's nipples, after all. Additionally, the Invisibility Hat made its grand and surprising return turn, but was tucked away right at the end of the game. To add it to Mario's wardrobe, players must collect 500 of the game's 800 power moons to reach the darker side of the moon, which opens them up to Long Journey's End. Not just the hardest trial of Super Mario Odyssey, this might be the toughest stage in 3D Mario history. It requires 10 whole minutes of well-timed jumps and perfect executions of a host of Mario's capture abilities. Sadly, the invisibility cap is not really all that worth having. At this stage, most of the game's challenges are well and truly over, and there isn't much to be gained from making NPCs completely unaware of your presence. If anything, not being able to see Mario makes the game harder to play. Number 1. Evil Talisman, Legend of Legaia. Legend of Legaia is a so-so PS1 RPG from a time where the genre was really singing. Perhaps more infamously than anything else, it contains one supremely evil talisman, not necessarily based on what's inside, but the fact that in order to be deemed worthy enough to wield it, your entire party must be at level 99. Considering the recommended level for the game's final boss is about 45, you've still got a long way to go by the end of the game if you want this little accessory. Worst of all, Legend of Legaia released way before post-game content was really an established part of the genre, so it's not exactly like there's any high-level enemies to grind against. Thus, the climb to level 99 from this point alone is easily another 25 plus hours. The Evil Talisman contains Juggernaut, the best summon in the game, so it makes some sense that it takes a lot to get it on your side. Watching the summon do its thing back when the game was released in 1998 was reward enough, but after that, now what? When it comes to colossal pointless time sinks, the Evil Talisman stands tall. Your party is literally 50 levels higher than anything else in the game. When you can cleave through enemies with a soft exhale, it makes a flashy demonic summon a bit redundant. And that's the list. Let us know what you thought of this video down in the comments below. Did you grab any of these pointless secrets along the way, and which did we miss? Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I've been Cypher What Culture, and have a good week.